Osby,
Here.
Krause, McGuire,
Here.
Erickson,
Here.
Palmieri,
Here.
present 6.
Councilmember Pesha will lead us in the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
We ask for your guidance tonight as we begin the meeting. May all of those who participate in our discussions and our decisions reflect the values that we cherish in this great city. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So this evening we have several public hearings, the first of which is 20-354, approved final resolution for special assessments for concrete pavement, asphalt pavement, sidewalk, new and rehabilitation, driveway aprons, sanitary sewer main and laterals, new and relay, water main and laterals, new and relay, storm sewer mains and laterals, new and relay, relating to contract number 20-4, A, Snell Road, Jackson to Moser, B, North Main Street, Snell Road to 2,300 feet south of Snell Road, C, Moser Street from Snell Road to 150 feet south of Snell Road. Clerk, do we have anyone registered
Yes,
for 20-354?
Yes, we do. John Ruckinski, 3680 North Main Street.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm here to speak on behalf of my property at 3680 North Main. I'm on the corner of Main and Snell. I'm all for the new road, don't get me wrong. I have concerns, though, about a sidewalk that runs both on the south side of Snell and the north side of Snell. I believe that it is being put in to encourage people to go to County Park, but I don't know how many of you are familiar with the businesses that happen to be on Mosier. And the businesses that do come out of there, when they make that left, the last thing they're thinking about is stopping for somebody going across the road at County Park. We are in an industrial park on my side of the road. The other side is all residential. The crossing, in my opinion, should be at Main Street. There's no need for a sidewalk to continue to nowhere, to Mosier, and just dead end. I don't see why it's redundant. It's redundant to have one on both sides. If you're trying to encourage people to get there, you would put them on the safest side of the road at the nearest area. I don't believe there's been any safety studies done as far as pedestrian crossing at that area, or it talks about enforcement of the cars that travel off of Mosier heading west on Snell. I just don't see, just because it's policy, that it is necessary. There's been other instances in the city where sidewalks have been done away with when new road construction has gone in. I just get the answer that it's policy, kind of, that new sidewalks go in when new road construction goes in on both sides. And I would think that in an industrial park setting like that, you would not be wanting people to go down and cross within, I think it's about 300 feet from Mosier to the entrance. And on North Main, the nearest residence area is an apartment complex that is 1.5 miles south. That's all I have to say on it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else registered?
I have no one else registered for this item.
I'm sorry, did you have on 20-354, please? You will need to register.
When he's done speaking, if you just want to stop over by the table. When you're done. When you're done. No, you can go speak.
Yeah, come on up, sir. Sorry for the confusion. Just state your name and address,
I also
please.
have property on Snell Street on the south side. And just to add to his, I believe the road is going to be 3 lanes with going to be a passing lane and 2 bike lanes. So I would wonder if somebody did happen to want to go down that way, they could do safely by just walking on the bike lane as opposed to have another sidewalk. That's another reason I would thought. So I'm encouraging the fact that please forget the sidewalk. It's going to be hard to maintain, and I don't think it's going to be used enough.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sir?
Yeah, if you could register, thank you.
What did you
Second reading, Resolution 20-354 for approval, final resolution for special assessments for concrete pavement, asphalt pavement, sidewalk, driveway aprons, sanitary sewer main and laterals, water main and laterals, storm sewer mains and laterals relating to contract 20-04. And third and final reading, Resolution 20-354, approve final resolution for special assessments for contract number 20-4. Anyone else wish to speak to this item? So we have items A, Snell Road, B, North Main Street, C, Moser Street. Bring it back to council for motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Councilmember Mugarauer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Robbie, I don't know how you guys are gonna do this, if you're gonna, can you speak from over there?
Yes.
Okay, so explain to us, because Mr. Ruzinski's, I think he's probably got a little bit of a point here with, that we may be defaulting to, that this is policy. We've got policy in place that says, when ready in this area, we're gonna put sidewalks in, basically, you know, following road construction. We're gonna do this entire project. Is that in a nutshell pretty correct? And then what is our current policy? How does it apply in this area? How are we implying our current policy?
The policy that we're applying here really is the implementation of the bicycle and pedestrian circulation plan, which is calling for bike lanes and sidewalks in this area. Main Street has sidewalk coming up the east side. There will certainly be a crossing at Snell Road, but then installing the sidewalk along the south side of Snell Road allows for the future connections to come down the west side of Mosier and the north side of Furneaux and encapsulate that whole block in a loop of sidewalk. But the policy is really the implementation of the bike and pedestrian circulation plan.
And you say that Maine currently has it only on the east side, not east and west?
Yes, sidewalk is not currently on the west side of Maine, and the reason for that is not all of those parcels are in the city limits. So that installing a sidewalk in there would be, you'd have it on one property, not on another one, on one property, not on another one. So it would be a very patchwork, whereas all the properties on the east side of Maine were in the city limits, so that sidewalk was installed a few years ago, extending all the way up to Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Robbie. I think, I guess I'd like to hear from, I don't know, when the bike and ped plan was passed, what, do you have the year that one was
Last year, I believe.
it last year?
We've got Ms. Najunas from Planning Services here, who is the Bike and Ped Circulation, Bike and Ped Committee staff liaison, so maybe she can help answer some of these questions.
Would you mind just giving us when did council approve that, just so I'm remembering correctly?
That was 2019
Okay.
for the update to the plan, but the original plan was from 2011.
Okay. That's all I have.
Ms. Nazunas, with that plan, as bike and ped considered the areas, was there part of the plan, if you recall, that was, I guess, prioritized? And maybe Mr. Robbie also has some information on that.
Mhm. Yeah, so, I mean, the city of Oshkosh has had success implementing new sidewalks and bike facilities throughout the last years, at least that I've been here, and that helps create healthy and safe communities, and I hope that can continue for the Snell project. For sidewalks, it doesn't specifically outline areas like we do with bicycle facilities, so we do mostly say more generic language like why it's helpful, why connectivity cannot be any more understated, like connectivity is key. We also have learned a lot from working with our partners with the county and the region that connecting to parks is very important. It helps create equity among all of our residents, and that's a huge amenity in this section for the Snell Road.
Do you happen to know how many apartments there are in that apartment complex?
Not off the top of my head, no, sorry.
Just-
We can get that to you. I don't have that now.
Oh, excuse me, sir. Sir, this, right now, this is for council to have the time, please.
So for residential apartments, I don't have that, but we can definitely get those unit numbers to you.
Mr. Abbey, any ideas on that?
On the number of residential apartment buildings?
Yes, or the number of units in that apartment area.
No, I do not, unfortunately, I'm sorry.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Peschel.
Sure. I think the important part about just that stretch of land and project that we're working on is that it's creating more safer connectivity to resources that we are told consistently that our community values, and that's access to the county parks. And I think this is a good example of how we're using our sidewalks, bike lanes, and roads to connect people to where they want to be. So just putting that out there.
Kind of hard for me to see you folks, so I can't, you'll have to put your hands out here if you want to talk. All right. Let's see here. It looks like, would council like to entertain allowing further comment from folks?
Yes.
Come forward, Mr., I'm sorry. Rosinski.
I guess I should just clarify is that I'm not against the sidewalk being on one side of the road or the other. But on the south side of Snell, there's not really, I believe there's one residence, maybe two. The nearest residence that would be accessing off of Main is 1.5 miles south. There is a crossing at Snell makes the most sense logistically and safely. To ask them to turn, go down a side of the street where there's no residents, and then cross in front of County Park closer to the intersection at Mosier, just to me presents a potential safety hazard. That's my main goal
Okay,
of this.
thank you.
Thank you.
And the gentleman who spoke before, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
John Boyle.
John Boyle.
I agree with what he said. I think having a sidewalk on the north side where the residential is would be safer for people, particularly at intersection at Mosier. If someone wanted to go to County Park, as opposed to running it down the industrial side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Peschel.
Aye.
Ford.
Aye.
Allison Osby. Aye. Mugrower.
Aye.
Erickson.
Aye.
Palmieri.
Aye.
Carried 6.
Next, we have Resolution 20-355. Approve final resolution for special assessments for concrete pavement, asphalt pavement, sidewalk, new and rehabilitation, driveway aprons, sanitary sewer main and laterals, new and relay, water main and laterals, new and relay, and storm sewer mains and laterals, new and relay relating to contract 20-05. We have a number of sub-items there. Oregon Street, West 21st Avenue to 150 South, West 28th Avenue, West 28th Avenue, Oregon Street to the end of West 28th Avenue, Congress Avenue, Sawyer Street to Summit Avenue, D West 22nd Avenue from Oregon Street to 100 east of Oregon Street, E West 23rd Avenue from 100 east of Oregon Street to 100 west of Oregon Street, F West 24th Avenue from Oregon Street to 100 east of Oregon Street, G Hughes Street from Oregon Street to 200 southwest of Oregon Street, H West 25th Avenue from Oregon Street to 100 feet east of Oregon Street, I Bradley Street from West 28th Avenue to 150 feet south of West 28th Avenue, And do we have anyone registered to speak? We'll open the public hearing for 20-355.
Scott Weber, 149 West 28th Avenue.
Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Scott Weber. My wife Candace and I own the property at 149 West 28th Ave. I came tonight to go over a few things, see what I could find out, express a couple of things. We are assessed at approximately $27,600 for that footage. And I guess I was wondering about that amount, and I guess I was concerned about it because I understand the pump station is there and that new storm sewers and water and sewer are being put in, but not necessarily just for the 28th Street. There's a lot of area that that's going to cover. And I felt that the number of businesses on that street were absorbing a large portion of that. The second item I had was 3 years ago, I believe, we were required to put in new aprons up and down 28th Street, which the city portion of that has now been dug up and removed. And a lot of the businesses, not necessarily mine, are getting beat up pretty good because of that construction. And I wanted to know if there's any restitution for that possible. As well, I've still got 7 years to pay on my portion of it, on my taxes. And the last thing I would request the council to do is I'm aware that interest rates are lower, and I'd like to know if they could assign someone to look into getting a better rate than 6%. That's all.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Before he goes, can I just confirm? You said your apron, you had that replaced 3 years ago?
3 years ago, we were required, the city had everyone replace aprons, and so I believe that's only 3 years old.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Is there anyone else registered to speak on this item?
Yes, David Pollock.
Good evening, everyone. I'm across the street from Scott at 140 West 28th Avenue. I will echo his thought about the aprons. We paid $2,500, and I'm pretty sure most of that's going to get torn up, so I don't know if there's a way that we can get some offsetting credit on the assessment. But the main question and comments I have tonight is about the current state of the special assessment policy for the city. And as I understand, we've been working on that for quite some time, and I would like to encourage the council to finish up that job and see if there's a way that we can get the 2020 assessments onto the new program. And if that is not possible, what's going to happen if we do go forward in a new program where potentially every property in the city is going to get assessed a smaller amount every year, regardless of whether your road's getting done or not? I have the bad feeling that we are going to be the last of the people paying under the old system and the first of the people paying under the new system. And I don't believe that is equitable to be paying under both systems. We should either get a credit, if we go to the new policy, get a 10-year exemption, or put the 2020 assessments under the new thing. So I don't know if anybody can tell me where we're at. I know we've been waiting on Janesville. I don't know why we have to wait for Janesville.
So, so this particular item is not on the agenda tonight. However, it is tangential, and I think council would like to be informative and share that we will be having this discussion. I believe it's on a future agenda to be discussed. However, it's not on the agenda for this evening, but I guess I'd just like to follow up with a quick question for Mr. Rabi on the, I guess, the apron question, because since that's been asked a couple of times.
I'll ask Justin to come up here and help me, but looking at the assessment sheets, those that are already improved do not have a charge.
What I can tell you is the assessment policy does state that if a apron is improved and in not need of repair, a credit will be given for that work. So I don't know specifically in those instances if the credit is shown on the assessments. If they're made slightly larger, they get billed for that additional area. So the fine details on each specific site, I'm not sure, but the policy does state that if they're in decent shape and are not needed repair during a project, they would not get assessed for them.
Okay. All right. And I'm sorry, did you have anything else that was on the agenda that you wanted to speak
Yeah,
to?
could I also add that I believe a lot of the work that's being done on 28th Avenue is in relation to the sewer. I know that the road was rated a 2 or 3, but probably wouldn't have been torn up at this time without the need for the sewer. And the sewer is benefiting no one on our street. It's for the further development of the Aviation Industrial Park, the apartments south on Oregon Street, the people on 45, but those folks aren't paying anything. And I've got a $28,000 bill. And I'm a sole proprietor, much as Scott is. Oh, yeah. So anyway, it'd be nice if the folks who are getting some of the benefits would be paying some of the price and taking it off of the property owners. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else registered to speak?
No one else is registered.
All right, so second reading here, Resolution 20-355, I'm sorry, we'll close public comment. Resolution 20-355, approve final resolution for special assessments for concrete pavement, asphalt pavement, sidewalk, driveway aprons, sanitary sewer main and laterals, water main and laterals, and storm sewer mains and laterals relating to contract number 20-5. The third and final reading, Resolution 20-355, approve final resolution for special assessments for contract number 20-5. All right, back to council for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Councilmember Ford and then Mugrauer.
Just a quick question for city staff. If the two individuals who spoke tonight would want to know if they are getting a credit for their existing apron, who should they contact at the city?
Contact the engineering division, 236-5065, and we'll get them connected either with Justin or with the project manager for the project.
Awesome, thank you.
That was 236-5065 for the engineering division. Councilmember Mugrauer.
Thank you. Actually, that's my first question is specific to those two individuals and the aprons. On the sheets that we have, as part of the packet, it shows a cost under apron. If it shows one there, aren't they getting billed for it?
This is the public hearing, so that the initial resolution's gone through. The costs are there, yes. We have not certified the assessments for the property, so this cost cannot exceed anything that's in there, but they're only gonna get billed for the work that's actually done, which will get done after the project is complete.
Okay, so that's a worst-case scenario is
Correct.
what we're providing them, and what's provided in here, provided that work gets completed and it didn't need to be, as you mentioned, we're not gonna bill them for that.
Correct.
Okay. That's all I have at the moment, yeah.
All
that's
right,
all I have.
thank you. Councilmember Peschel.
Sure. Can you give a scenario why we would have something in there for the apron and it wouldn't get done?
Not specifically. I think if it would have been looked at and missed by staff as we prepare the initial assessments, that the cost is X that's being assessed, but when in reality there was a newer apron that would get the credit, it could have been missed by staff, or I don't know of any other scenario where, I mean, again, if a apron is made larger than what's existing, the area that's larger than what was there to begin with is assessed to the property owner. So it could have some of that too. I don't know exactly in each scenario.
Okay, thank you.
And City Manager Roloff, I just had a follow-up question regarding one of the comments earlier about with the interest rates being lower and You know, 6% has been what we've been charging on that. Is there the potential that that would change in future discussions, or what?
The
how would-
interest rate has been set by policy. The city does not want to encourage people to use city borrowing to fund their special assessments. We would prefer that they fund it themselves, but if they need us as a lender of last resort, we do make it available. With that said, we do enjoy low interest rates. For these types of projects, we're probably paying a little over 2% right now, lowest we've enjoyed in many years. But the idea behind it is we want to encourage people to find another alternative funding source rather than use the city. About 5 years before I got here, so the early 2000s, I think we were upwards of about 9%, and we reduced it for that very reason. It's set by council policy. I've done it in the past where we floated it based on our borrowing rate. It becomes very administratively burdensome, because literally you could have one person in one project get charged one rate, and then the next year they get charged at a different rate. So floating it becomes administratively burdensome. Council could revisit that, but this is pretty standard amongst municipalities, because we do want to discourage people from using us as their bank for this.
All right. Councilmember Mugarauer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I remembered my follow-up question, and actually, that was one of them. I think it's at least worth the discussion that long-range finance takes a look at that particular policy. Sorry, I'm flogging up here. That long-range finance takes a look at that, and just at least reports back to council if that's something that, that they think is something that should continue as is, or if it maybe should, have an alteration or something, but it's definitely worthy of discussion. But I did have a follow-up for staff. The gentleman makes a good point. He made many good points, but he makes an exceptional one, in fact, that, 28th Street, the reason we're doing it, what's the reason we're doing it right now? Because as he mentions, we've done a significant infrastructure improvement on the south end of town for two reasons. One, the aviation industrial park, which hasn't, for the lack of a better term, hasn't taken off yet, forgive the pun. And two, because of residential development on the far end of town as well. So we've done a significant, and we're talking, rough numbers in my head is over 50 million, I think, in terms of infrastructure, roads, sewer, sanitary sewer on the south end of town to support roughly two projects. One street getting whacked pretty hard. They're all getting whacked, but this one in particular. Can we at least tell them right now, is there other reasons that they were, this road is getting done other than we needed to do that sewer and upgrade the infrastructure underground, road counts, things like that? Is there other information that we don't have in here that we can help them with?
Well, every time we plan a street project, it's always a combination of utility needs, street needs. It's a veritable 3D jigsaw puzzle, if you will, when you look at all of the pieces of the puzzle. This street, east of Bradley is Pacer rated a 2. 1 is completely and utterly failed. 2 is basically the same. From Bradley to Oregon is rated a 3. So, this stretch of street is among some of the worst in the city. So, just from a street surface standpoint alone, it needed work. Yes, we are doing sewer as a part of it, but we evaluate all of the needs, whether it's utility or street, when we determine projects that are getting done. Sometimes the street surface drives the need to do a reconstruction or a resurfacing project, and then utilities are kind of brought along for the ride. Sometimes the utilities are driving. It goes both ways on projects, and every project is a little bit different. In this case, while the sewer utility may have been the one that started it, the street surface needed to be done as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Other council members? All right. Please take the roll. Or, I'm sorry. Yes, we're ready to vote.
Heschel,
Aye.
Ford,
Aye.
Allison Osby,
Aye.
Uberauer,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Palmieri,
Aye.
carried 6.
Next, we have Resolution 20-356. Approve final resolution for special assessments for concrete pavement, asphalt pavement, sidewalk, new and rehabilitation, driveway aprons, sanitary sewer main and laterals, new and relay, water main and laterals, new and relay, and stormwater mains and laterals, new and relay relating to contract number 20-7. A, Washington Avenue, Lakeshore Drive to Hazel. B, North Meadow Street, Witzel Avenue to Southland. C, North Eagle Street, Witzel Avenue to Southland Avenue. Do we have anyone registered on 20-356?
No, we do not.
All right. Second reading, approve final resolution for special assessments for concrete pavement, contract number 20-7. Third and final reading, resolution 20-356. Approve final resolution for special assessments for concrete pavement relating to contract 20-7. All right, close public hearing. Back to council for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on 2356? Please call the roll.
Heschel,
Aye.
Ford,
Aye.
Allison Osby,
Aye.
Uberauer,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Palmieri,
Aye.
carried 6.
Next is 20-357. Approve final resolution for special assessments for storm sewer laterals relating to contract number 20-15, various locations. Is there anyone registered for 2357?
No one is registered.
All right. Second reading, approve final resolution for special assessments for storm sewer laterals relating to contract number 20-15, various locations. Third and final reading, 20-357, approve final resolution for special assessments for storm sewer laterals relating to contract number 20-15. Close the public hearing. Back to council for motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? There is a list of those various locations in the agenda packet. If anyone watching this program would like to see that, please take the roll.
Heschel,
Aye.
Ford,
Aye.
Allison Osby,
Aye.
Uberauer,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Palmieri,
Aye.
carried 6.
Next, we have Resolution 20-358, approve final resolution for special assessments for asphalt overlay relating to contract number 20-17. A, West Third Avenue from 200 feet west of Ohio Street to Idaho Street. B, Radisson Avenue from Kirkwood Drive to South Oakwood Road. C, West 25th Avenue from Oregon Street to the cul-de-sac. And is there anyone registered for 2358?
No one is registered.
All right, the second reading, 20-358, approve final resolution for special assessments for asphalt overlay relating to contract 2017. And third and final reading, 20-358, approve final resolution for special assessments for asphalt overlay relating to contract number 20-17. Bring it back to council for motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Rabi, on the asphalt overlay contracts, what is the anticipated life extension, I guess, that gives to our roads, and what would be kind of an example of the Pacer rating on these sections of street?
Ooh, I do not recall the Pacer rating on these exact sections of street, Justin. I don't know if you looked at it either. Three and less typically. Extension of life, by code, a minimum of 3 years. In practice, we've seen these streets last 10, 15, 20 years. My particular street was done in 1999 and it's still just fine. So By code, it's 3 years, but in practice, depending on traffic using it, it can be much longer than that.
All right. Any further questions or discussion here? All right, please take the roll on 2358.
Peschel.
Aye.
Ford.
Aye.
Allison Osby. Aye. Mugrower.
Aye.
Erickson.
Aye.
Palmieri.
Aye.
Carried 6.
And the last public hearing this evening is Resolution 20-359. Approved final resolution for special assessments for storm sewer laterals relating to contract number 20-20, various locations. Is there anyone registered on 20-359?
No one is registered.
All right, second reading. Approved final resolution for special assessments for storm sewer laterals relating to contract number 2020. And the third and final reading, approved final resolution for special assessments for storm sewer laterals relating to contract number 20-20. Close the public hearing. Back to council for motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All right. Please take the roll.
Peschel.
Aye.
Ford.
Aye.
Allison Osby. Aye. Mugrower.
Aye.
Erickson.
Aye.
Palmieri.
Aye.
Carried 6.
All right. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, staff and Mark, for